Imagine you're a private investigator. You are waiting for a call back from somebody who owes. Some time ago you did them a favor, and now it's time to collect that debt. Or perhaps you are a rumormonger, and you're checking out what kind of effect your rumor spreading has had on the city these days. Or maybe you're an agent, somebody who hops different timelines and is currently stuck with this one. Or perhaps you are the haunted one, roaming the streets of H.A.V.E.N with a ghastly companion. Or perhaps you have made a pact with an entity, and you give him gifts in exchange for his powers. In H.A.V.E.N playtest there are 5 callings, as I like to call them, but they are not really as classes as much as playbooks from games like Power by the Apocalypse. So today I would like to go through 5 of them, not in any particular details, but I want to go back to the roots. When I started making this game in 2015, there are 2 things that I immediately knew my playbooks, my callings need to have. And that was a signature ability, which is like a small GM power, and the rest of the kit. One of the things that I really wanted to emphasize with this game and with the signature powers is the ability for the players themselves to add to the story. And I have done it in this way. Each calling has one reality-bending or narrative-altering ability that no one else can replicate. This is your big moment button, costly, dramatic and defining. And other abilities are your toolkit that have additional ways that are supporting your own playstyle. So join me as I take a closer look into these 5 callings and their abilities. Private Investigator was the first one that I started working on, and I mean, what is a noir game without a private investigator? And right from the start I knew that he's going to be the only calling that doesn't have some kind of supernatural abilities. And that made it easy and hard at the same time to work on him. I immediately had the idea for his signature ability, which is calling in favors. Basically, I envisioned it in a way that he was an ex-cop or has been a private investigator his whole life, and he's been helping people, and those people are always willing to answer his call for help. So when a player uses calling in favors, he is the one who makes up the NPC and adds him to the narrative, and the GM has to abide by it. That NPC is now part of the narrative for just this one scene, or maybe in the long term provides more help or some kind of detriment to the party. He can always become the liability. And the rest of the abilities is my best attempt to translate the PI onto the paper. Like having him trigger ready so he can react to danger, or molded by the city. Did he learn and performed his craft while fighting or shooting? Something like a gut feeling also seemed very appropriate for the private investigator. I even added the occult investigator in case the character wishes to go in that direction. Of course, these are just some examples of the abilities, and I planned to add at least a couple of more of them for a final version of the game one day. Now, Rumormonger is where things get a little bit more trickier. His calling ability is fact or fiction, name in progress. And the whole idea started with he can change reality. And he does so by spreading a rumor, and there are a couple of requirements for that rumor to happen. First of all, for a rumormonger to change reality, the rumor needs to spread. It means it has to be interesting to people to talk about. Secondly, he cannot directly harm people, that would be just too easy. And lastly, a value in a rumor has to be paid up front, so I just wanted to avoid stuff like spreading a rumor there is $1,000 hidden in my cabinet. Well, that wouldn't be that much interesting to the rest of the people. Maybe some thieves would talk about it, but I just wanted to avoid exploits, so to speak. So for you to have a rumor that gives you that much gold, you would have to pay up front in the same value. And this is where I first realized that these signature abilities cannot just be something that the player wants to happen. It has to be a conversation between the GM and the player so they can find a common ground that works for both. And to give you an example, one of these rumors when they were looking for a missing tome was a rumormonger spread a rumor that there is a book sale convention happening in H.A.V.E.N in 2 days. And since that logically made sense to the book lovers, it quickly became the talk of the town. So they had a clue, they had a trail to find where could have that missing tome gone. And the rest of the kit for the rumormonger felt like it was appropriate to go for informant kind of thing. Somebody who knows the city very well, who is connected to people, who knows what the word on the street is. And maybe most importantly and fun for my players and me was the secret identity. The rumormonger literally starts as 2 people and he can switch between them. My friend played a Russian called Igor Voda, but his other personality was Frederick Fontaine, a lover and a writer from Paris, so that was really fun. The agent as an idea came a little bit later, but I have always been playing with the idea of different timelines, and it kind of made sense to throw in somebody who has come from somewhere else. Now, while Agent wasn't playtested a lot, I have only run him a couple of sessions, my favorite was when somebody played a German agent from a alternate history, and he had a trinket with him that could read people's emotions. Agent's signature ability is dimensional incursion. He basically jumps into the different version of the location that he is currently located in. An example I always give to my players is, imagine if your teammate is wounded and nearby there is an old decrepit building. You jump into the different dimension, different timeline when that building was a pharmacy. You grab some medical supplies and jump right out. But the idea for the incursion is to also possibly have some kind of trans-dimensional consequences. Somebody might follow you back. Luckily, you as the agent should be prepared for any kind of trouble that comes out, because the agents are built around physical feats and basically combat. You have abilities where you can kind of stretch these dimensions a little bit, taking an extra action after you have just took an action, or having all your plans going according to the plan. Also, you can attack enemies from different directions as you bend these dimensions. And there are probably going to be more abilities that are going to reflect this, but for the playtest, I think this is enough. The Haunted One came from an early case that I was planning to give my players, which involved a self-driving car, and the car was possessed by a ghost. And whenever I'm starting up pondering on the new calling, I always have to start from the signature ability. It has to be their defining thing. And for the Haunted One, possession seemed pretty fun. And possessions can come in different forms. You can command your ghost to possess the radio to distract nearby enemies, or even raise up one dead body that you have just defeated. But that always brings interesting consequences. What if somebody sees it? Will it be talk of the town? And of course, narratively, it depends what kind of relationship you have with your possessed ghost. In some of my playtests, my friend had a stalker. She accidentally killed him and he was following her around in a ghastly form. And the rest of the Haunted One's kit is kind of stealth-oriented, but also ghosts. I had this timid, obscure and isolated idea for teams when I was thinking about the Haunted One. The Haunted One abilities also revolve around the ghosts and your relationship with a ghost, such as Shared Perception or Pale Bond. And lastly, we have the Demonologist. In a world where paranormal is a normal everyday occurrence, there is bound to be some individuals that would like to get in contact. And the Demonologist functions slightly bit different than the rest. Well, similar to Revenant, but he is not in the playtest yet. Demonologist chooses a demon or demonic form that he has entered the pact with, and his signature ability revolves around the type of the element that demonic force possesses. So two options to choose from are the Taranis, the Thunderbound, a storm spirit, and Glass Jackal, the Mirror Hound, a sly, elegant, and unnerving trickster. And their signature ability reflects their nature, so with Taranis you might perform some kind of lightning strike, summon a thunderstorm, or perform a feat of great speed. And with Glass Jackal you might perform some kind of mass hysteria, illusion, some kind of mind trick to fool the people. And just like their signature ability, their toolkit also reflects their nature, just on a smaller scale. And that is it. If you've come all the way to the end of the video, thank you very much for watching. There is actually a quiz to discern which calling you are. If you're interested, I'll leave a link down below for you to check it out, and I hope to see you again. Bye bye.